Good afternoon, everyone from Istanbul, Turkey. Welcome to Kültür School's Showcase event. As we wait for the audience to log in, I would like to first talk about the fact that the language for this showcase is fully English. Now, I would like to introduce myself and give some information about Kültür Schools. My name is Angela Matheson, and I am the International Programs and English Education Director for Kültür Schools. I have been an educator for over 20 years. I am also the moderator for today's event. First, I would like to give you some information about our school. Kültür School is one of the oldest private schools in Turkey. We celebrated our 61st birthday last week. Our school has an established reputation for being a school that puts the students' needs first. We are constantly looking at how we teach and how we can improve the students' educational experiences. Our management and teachers attend both local, national, and international events to ensure that we are up to date with the latest teaching methods. Our students are encouraged to have active social interests and are allowed to develop their skills by participating in many local, national, and international competitions. Our schools currently have 2 campuses. We moved to our largest campus in 1992. But we always felt that we could do more. So the founders and managers of Istanbul Kültür Schools have always wished to establish a prestigious school built in a completely empty area, where the most popular practices would be implemented. They realized their wish by establishing Alkent Kültür 2000 schools in 1998. This school has a bilingual structure and follows the MYP and DP programs. Currently, we have in total 3 preschools, 2 primary schools, 2 middle schools, as well as 2 science high schools and 2 Anatolian high schools. Here at Kültür Schools, we give great importance to the learning of English, but a great factor in that learning includes the ability to use 21st century skills. Education should never be just about formulas or history dates. It should also teach our students how to research, use critical thinking skills, and develop the ability to solve everyday problems in a no-nonsense practical way. I would like to now show you a video which demonstrates who our school is.
Yepyeni bir maceraya atılıyorsun. Geleceğine yön verecek bir serüven. Kendi hikayeni yazman, ilk günkü heyecanını hep koruman, yokuşları düz edip engelleri aşman için ihtiyacın olan ne varsa burada seni bekliyor. Keşfetmenin heyecanını, soru sormanın önemini, üretmenin keyfini, kazanmanın değerini bilen bir ailede kararlı adımlar atmanı sağlayacak güvenilir kılavuzlar, her düştüğünde ayağa kaldıracak gerçek dostluklar, yolculuğuna anlam katacak efsaneler ve seni hedefine götürecek bir yol arkadaşı yanı başında burada. 4 duvarın ötesine geçen 60 yıllık eğitim felsefesiyle çağdaş, akla ve bilime önem veren, uluslararası kalitede bireyler yetiştiren kültür kolejleri olarak biz buradayız. Senin yolunda, senin yanındayız. Yolculuğun boyunca bil ki gelecek kültürdür.
Kültür kolejler olarak özel beceri ve yetenek sahibi öğrencileri keşfedecek ve geliştirecek çabayı doğal görevimiz sayarız. Bunun için zorluklarla mücadele eden, disiplinli, odaklanabilen, motivasyonu yüksek, hedefi olan bireyler için 60 yıldır çalışıyoruz.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed learning something about our school. We will now move on to the main event, our debate. We have two teams. Each team has 6 students, one from Kültür 2000 school and the other from our Ataköy campus school. The students are enrolled in our high schools and have been working very hard for this showcase. Before we talk about the debate theme, I would like to introduce the 2 other jury members. First is Steve Ogden.
Hello, everybody, and good afternoon, or perhaps a good morning or a good evening to you joining in different time zones today. I'm from the UK, but I've been based here in Istanbul for about 12 years, and it's a real pleasure to be invited by Angela and Kültür Schools to take part in this debate this afternoon. So looking forward to hearing our students' ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. The next juror is Judas Çabukçı.
Hi, good morning, good day, good evening, again, according to your time zone. My name is Judas. I've been in Turkey, Istanbul, 25 years. I've been involved in education in Turkey, mainly ELT, for about 15 years. I just again would like to congratulate our 2 teams, and I'm looking forward to what they have to say today. It's a real honor to be here supporting World Education Week, and good luck, everybody, and let's see what the outcome is. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. The debate today is about the current situation that we are in. Many of our students are still not back at school for face-to-face lessons and are continuing their studies online. We are going to debate about face-to-face style of education and how this has changed versus the new normal and what this means for the future of learning. We flipped a coin before the event started to decide which team would go first. Good luck, teams. We will now start the debates. Can we first of all go to Berna from Ataköy campus, please?
Hello, I'm Berna from Kültür College, and I'm going to talk about the education system in new normal. As everyone knows, because because of COVID-19, 1.5 million students were deprived of the right to attend to school. And this situation has started a worldwide educational mobilization. Over 150 countries have started online education temporarily, even though it was because of an obligation. The pandemic process that we've been going through has showed us that the world has already made its digital revolution. And simultaneously, it has raised its own generation. And the classical education system, which is coming from the Industrial Revolution, was just like a tight dress for students. The tough exams, the limited opportunities for learning in the classrooms, the wasting time on schoolways, a little access which do not include all the students because of the financial insufficiency. And now, by the online-based system, the new generation who already knows how to use technology well will be able to focus more on their learning ways and individual interests, and this also provides an education access for all the students while low cost, by eliminating geographical constraints and providing an equal education to children who are out of school for certain reasons, just like the ones in hospital or were disabled. Thank you.
Angela.
Thank you very much, Berna. Kültür 2000, do we have any questions on that topic? Yes, can we go to Murat Han, please?
You have just stated that it was a easier and more affordable way of education, but have you ever thought about kids that do not have access to these devices and because of their economic conditions they can not access to this type of education? Thank you.
Thank you. And Berna, would you like to answer that question, please? Can we go
Yes.
to Berna?
So you think it's inequality, right? Then please look at our school building. Look at us debating in our second language. How great, how lovely education, isn't it? Then please go look at the schools at the east side of the Turkey. Look at their classrooms, look at the laboratories, if they have any, while we have just three for separately each science department. And do you think that these two schools are providing the same education for their students just because they both have face-to-face interaction? No, they don't. Absolutely, they don't. And yes, this is the way that I call equality, because when you give this device to the students, then you automatically put them in the middle of the system. And providing these devices are much easier than rebuilding all the schools, making new laboratories, making arrangements for your funds for the students who are in need. Is quite easier because these devices are being sold at least from 10 million people each year. But do you know the number of the schools who are being rebuilt each year? Not much, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Berna. We will now go to Murat Han from 2000 School.
Hello, my name is Murat Hangiler, and today me and my teammates here will be explaining why face-to-face education should be preferred over online education. First of all, I'd like to talk about the teaching method for both models. In online education, ways to teach are so limited. You are basically restricted to your device that you attend online courses and are able to learn only from what your teacher has to show you. On the other hand, face-to-face education, you not only learn from what your teachers tell you, but you can also learn from materials that your school has to offer, such as maps, models, laboratory equipment, etc., to further understand the topic. This takes us to another topic, which is that every student has a different learning style. As you may be aware of, there are 7 different learning styles. These are visual, auditory, verbal, physical, logical, social, and solitary. Online education, we favor some of these, but as for the rest, the interactions you can get from face-to-face education are essential. Also, with some courses, face-to-face education is not a matter of choice, but a necessity, like medicine. Because with professions like surgeons, pilots, etc., human lives are important, theoretical education alone cannot be expected to be sufficient, and practical education is heavily needed. And at this point, online education falls short, as you cannot have any practical education from your home unless you have the right equipment to do so, which is quite unlikely as these kinds of complex equipments are hard to obtain. And I don't think anyone would like to get operated by a heart surgeon that did not have any practical experience before. That's all I have to say now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions from Atika related to that? Yes, can we go to Oz, please?
So hello. So you stated that you're limited to such a content that is given to you by your teacher when it's online. But I'd like to ask you the question that are you aware of the fact that with online education compared to conventional methods, there are much more sources for student to use, and thus the student can customize the content he or she will be using according to his needs. Thank you.
Thank you all. Murat, would you like to answer that, please? Can we go to Murat?
By what you mean, I get that you can, access to internet to your heart's content with online education, but same goes for the face-to-face education as well. You can always access to the internet in from your home. It does not have to do anything with the online education. And what I meant with that was the access to all the materials that you can use by yourself and get some practical experience on that topic, which would favor you much more than just listening to it and learning it theoretically.
Thank you very much, Murat. I would now like to go to Çınar in Atika Council.
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I'm Çınar from Kültür Education, and I'm glad to address you here. I'm going to mention about the technological sides of the new normal education model, which is an obligation in our current situation. We all know that pandemic situation has been affecting education systems all over the planet terribly. On the other hand, using this process in our favor is not that much hard. I want to be sure that anytime we talk about the future of education, that we always consider the history of the education. We cannot break from history. We have not severed ourselves from the past through the introduction of computers or computer networks. Our institutions have not been severed from the past because of these. Our cultures have not, at least not entirely, not yet. So technology was a big part of our education, and it sure will be in our education model. I'm not saying implementing new technological devices and ideas will be easy, but you need to know that if we don't do this, ladies and gentlemen, not you maybe, but your children's, your grandsons will not that bright future at all. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to go to Steve from our jury who has a question for Çınar.
Many thanks, Çınar, for that. That's it's a good opening statement there. Just a question that's in kind of two parts, really. Of course, we can deliver education online. We can deliver content to learners online. But what do you think has an impact on learners, such as their social and emotional learning as a result of being at home receiving their education? That's the first part of the question. And then secondly, do you think that different grades lend themselves better for online learning as opposed to other grades? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Can we go back to Çınar for the answer, please?
We think that we can receive any kind of education to homes via computers, via computer networks, and we think that we are accomplished on this issue. Thank you.
Culture 2000, do you have any questions on this? Okay, can we go to Silsila, please?
So I agree with what you said, that you have to take a step towards future, but I want to ask that, are you sure that we are ready right now to take a step towards future? Like, are we fully equipped with that? Thank you.
Okay, can we go back to Çınar, please, for the answer? Thank you.
We sure are. Thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Çınar. We are now going to go to 2000 to Tuna, please.
Hello everyone, I'm Tuna Checker from Culture 2000 IB Diploma Program. Online education increases the time spent on screen, and along with that, the harm that sitting in front of the screen gives to your body. Obviously, the most harmful part of your body is eye. A person can develop symptoms of computer vision syndrome. Excessive screen time can lead to eye dryness, irritation, fatigue, blurred vision, headaches, and eye strain. On the other hand, you will have problems with your posture. A healthy posture is when your shoulders and head are straight, your chest is up, and your stomach is in. But sitting in front of the screen pushes your shoulders down and provides you to have a bad posture. Your neck bends and your stomach goes up. On the other hand, research show that people feel hunger while in front of a computer. So they are keen on eating while on computer. This may not look like a problem, but it is a huge problem as you gain weight unawares. Thus, that weight gain may cause serious heart diseases in the future. Another issue that you will face is addiction to technology. As we are in a digital era, we are living in a convenient environment to develop addiction to technology. Online education supports and fastens this process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from Ataköy? Yes, can we go to Beren, please?
Okay, then I want to share some reports of Unicef which were published in 2016. There are 15% of students who are dealing with scoliosis, and there are 40% of students who are having backaches because of carrying fever bags. There are 25% of students having headaches after they come from the school to home. And I want to mention that, as you said, they were born into a world which is a technology based. So they are used to do all this stuff with technology, and if there is a problem about their health, then it's not something that we used to see. It's not something new. And they were already spending, according to the researchers I want to add, spending their 8 hours on Instagram and online social media platforms. Even we are given their homeworks from like K-12, IBA, and the other CATs, maybe the platforms, and we are using this platform for their technological education. So it also affects their eye health. And I want to mention also that basically, if they are using these devices for their education, then they may use also these devices just like 6 or 7 hours for their education in a day. What change does it make? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll go back to Tuna, please, for the answer to that.
Yeah, they're already spending their time for hours in front of social media. And I say online education supports and fastens this process to have itchy and red eyes or headaches. And yes, you're right. We were born in a digital era. But there are families that are not in a good financial situation. They may not afford a computer or any other technological device. They might have more than one kids, and these kids have right to education. And the financial problems should not be a block to education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tuna. We will now go to Cemre from Ataköy campus, please. Sorry, Dila. Sorry, Dila from Ataköy campus, sorry.
Hello, my name is Dila, and today I'm going to talk about the new normal in education. It's true that the current pandemic destroyed the traditional education, and because of that, the new normal has occurred. It's been used by many governments for 6 months as a precaution in case of second outbreak. But it must be improved by governments and continued in future terms. Firstly, students can keep their lecture notes in their computers as a PDF, so they don't need photocopies too much, and also schools don't have to waste too much paper. With that PDF style, students won't throw their dead photocopies to their surroundings, especially to environment. But also, it's important that all students must have equal conditions. It may seem difficult, but actually it's not. The government and non-governmental organizations can provide it by distributing tablets to students who need, and they can spread the fiber internet to all over the country that the students who live in villages can reach the internet. Yes, we all know the traditional education has benefits, but our world evolved to a place which we should protect our energy, our sources, our environment, and because of that, maybe we should renew our perception for education. Thank you.
Thank you, Dila. Kültür 2000, any questions? And yes, we will go to Tuna, please.
You mentioned that students doesn't need any photocopies if they have PDFs, but as I mentioned earlier, some students doesn't have any good financial situation to buy a device. And besides that, you mentioned that the government must provide tablets or computers to students. In Turkey, there are 1.5 million students that cannot join the online education. And other than that, developing countries may not be able to afford any providing of tablets or computers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we go back to Dila, please, for an answer to that?
Thank you for your question. First of all, I mean, they don't need photocopies.
Thank you very much. Dila, can we now go to Cemre from Kültür 2000?
Hello, I'm Cemre. I'm from Kültür 2000. Today, I will be talking about online education is not as efficient as face-to-face education. We acknowledge that online education or learning is the future and has room to grow. However, in the status quo, online education lacks some key elements that face-to-face education has and has provided by different type of learning systems. Most of the research on the effectiveness of online and face-to-face education has used large-scale administrative data, looking at otherwise similar students in two settings. According to various research, that online education was less effective and an average student does worse on the online setting. In this particularly true for the students with weaker academic background. I'm going to explain why these researchers have those results about online education. First, the students' point of view, there are some lacking key elements. It is hard to ask questions immediately or get feedback from the teacher or see the other students' body language through a screen. Secondly, it is hard to concentrate when you have your phone right next to your finger. Lastly, students cannot use the labs. Using labs is the best way to teach hand-on subjects, to have experiments. And from teachers' point of view, there are some lacking key elements too. Teachers may not know whether an underperforming student understood the lesson. As I mentioned, the research showed that underperforming students does worse on online education, or the assessments done transparently, and if the results are reliable. In a physical or face-to-face education, you can see whether a student is cheating or not. In conclusion, online education may be the future, but currently online education lacks some key elements that face-to-face education has. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cemre. We actually have a question from our jury, so can we go to Steve, please?
Many thanks. Many thanks, Cemre, for your statement there. Just one small question, really. I think in the classroom we can easily get distracted. There's a lot of ways of getting distracted within a classroom. But how do you feel it is with online teaching, with family members being at home, potentially pets running around, access to other parts of the internet during the lesson? How do you think students can cope with keeping focused? Thank you.
Online.
Wait, so can we go back to Cemre, please, now? Thank you.
Online education lacks that external discipline that schools have. If you're distracted in a lesson, teacher can say, Cemre, please look at the board, please listen. But in a home setting, if your mom is not at home, if your dad's not at home, who's going to do that to you? Thank you.
And do we have any questions from Ataköy about this? Can we go to Çınar in Ataköy, please?
Are you aware of the online labs which we are also currently using? Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Can you answer that for me, please, Cemre?
Yes, I accept the question. Yes, I accept the question. Just because it may be technologically possible to simulate a physical learning experience, physical labs, does that not necessarily mean that is the best way to teach it? For example, when you do an experiment online, you're not going to see those effects as you saw in face-to-face education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cemre. We will now go to Parsa in Ataköy campus, please.
Hello everybody, I am Parsa and I'm going to talk about the energy and time that students save with this online education method. I believe that in the past 6 months, online education proved itself to be a system that is much more convenient than the conventional education system that we use for centuries. First of all, this is a new system is customizable and much easier for both students and lecturers. As an example, students don't have to arrange themselves for the school bus or the distance they have to go in their daily school route. So they can have much more sleep and rest so they can keep their energy for the rest of the day. Online education methods are also much more time efficient than the conventional education because with it, students don't have to spend a considerable amount of time on the roads. so they can begin their program earlier and thus finish it earlier. That gives them more time for both doing their homework and do things they love, like their hobbies. Also, missing lessons becomes history with this online education method because teachers started to record every lesson for the students whom they miss the class or want to do rehearsal. In another way, let's assume that a student doesn't understand the part of his or her lesson, or maybe he or she needs a different type of exercises. With this system, teacher is able to send a specific exercise to fit his needs or a comprehensive summary about the subject that a student lacks on. So as a conclusion, I believe I made my point quite clear about my views on online education and how beneficial it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pastor. 2000, do we have any questions on that, please? Okay, can we go to Züre, please?
When you talked about waking up or sleeping or going to the bus, isn't school about adventure for us to experience things every day? And for example, when you said recordings, isn't school's education supposed to make our memories much more better and stronger instead of for us to go and watch the recordings? Thank you.
Okay, can you answer that, please, Pastor? Can we go back to Pastor and Atike?
Thank you for your question. Yes, of course, it is about adventure, and you're right about it. But we have to sacrifice a few things to gain a few too. And about the thing you said about the recordings, it's about the accessibility. Like, you don't learn the lesson in school and you don't rehearse it in home. Of course you do. This is another way to rehearse it from the recording of the teacher. It's up to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Can we now go to Silsila from Kültür 2000, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Silsila Amirzadeh from Kültür 2000 College, and today I will be supporting why face-to-face has more advantages over the online learning. And the aspect that I will be focusing on is inequality in online education. Online education or remote learning has worsened inequalities in education, which existed before but has gotten worse now that we have started online education. The use of distance learning assumes a lot of students' access to computer, reliable internet connection, space to study at home, and parents' ability to help students with work. Statistics have demonstrated that this access is sorely lacking, showing big remote learning gaps for low-income and special needs students. Now, what does some of these inequalities look like? Firstly, financial instabilities resulted in students to have to prioritize work over school. According to New York Times, more students than ever are missing from classes, not logging in, not checking, or not even completing their assignments. And many students dropped off school completely, unavailable by phones, emails, or other forms of communication. Lack of access to computer or reliable connections contributed to chronic absenteeism and decreased learning. According to EDWI, some teachers reported that fewer than half of their students are regularly participating. And also another reason for this absence can be financial problems of families with multiple children who cannot afford multiple computers and internet. Homeless students who relied on residential programs for themselves found themselves with nowhere to go to, and very few and no resources to connect to remote learning. Dormitories shut down during the pandemic, and along with the shelters and well-being, let alone internet connectivity. At the end, the need of students with disabilities were largely ignored in the abrupt transition to remote learning. According to Inside Higher Education, students who were deaf, hard of hearing, having low visions or blind, those with learning disorders such as attention defects, hyperactivity disorders, and etc., it's very hard for them all to study and continue learning, while the right support cannot be given to them through online education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from Turkey? Can we go to Oz, please?
I think I'm live. Yeah. So, are you aware of the fact that many countries, including Turkey, started to prepare funds to terminate this issue of accessibility that you previously mentioned? And also about discipline issue, I think with enough dedication shown by educational institutions, that problem can also be terminated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we go back to Cecilia, please, for the answer to that question?
Yes, I agree that there are certain disciplines in online education, but then if you look into the where in face-to-face the discipline is more, and in online, while it's lacking in online. For example, you're in your online lesson and you might have another device next to you playing games while your teacher does not even know about it. And distractions at home, if we think about it, it's way more than it's in school. While in school, teachers can warn you and tell you that you should listen and other stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cecilia. Can we now go to Arda, please, in Ataköy? Thank you very much.
I'm Arda Sunu. I'm glad to be here. I'm going to talk about hybrid educational system. Also, I'm going to tell its advantages a bit and how schools get into it. I would like to start my words about education before novel coronavirus pandemic. World changed every minute, every second, technology, communication, transportation, and more. Did you ever think about that style of teaching, educating still same 100 years ago? After the novel coronavirus pandemic started, whole of world shut down all public areas, schools, classes. By the time we can name that, whole world locked down in their houses. And the online education, it became an first priority for the people. All materials are, all governments turn online education for keeping students educated. All materials are reformatted to digital world, digital platforms. After months of hybrid education system is announced by government. Hybrid education is based on balanced time in class and in computer. It has to learn numerical courses, which is the hardest classes to understand online with face-to-face education. Other classes could be understood and done online. We can define it as education model for 21st century. Hybrid education provides chance for students to do their social activities, sports, and more. In traditional education, it is hard to find chance to do it due to school schedule. In nowadays, schools are get used to hybrid education since new normal process. And I support that. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Arda, do we have any questions from Culture 2000? No. Wait a minute, we have a question from our jury. Can we go to Judith, please?
Yes, I agree with you. A hybrid education could be the future of education. But as Steve mentioned earlier, with regard to the younger age groups and parents working, a lot of parents are still having to go to, especially the lower income families, are still working in factories, having to go to their jobs every single day. The younger generation or our younger learners, how does that help them being at home without anybody, no caring or caregivers, or help with the technology or the computers at home? For older students, perfect, they can work, but with our younger learners, I think it's a little bit of a responsibility with our government and our parents as to home care for our younger generation. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we go back to Art, please, for an answer?
First of all, thank you for your question, Madam Jury. For the working families, for their little kids, in hybrid education. It depends on their needs. They can extend the traditional time, like in face-to-face education, and they might be lower online education in their work times. Also, in the case of the pandemics, it's due to while everybody at home, it's not better for the small kids to at home. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now going to go to Gülden from Kültür 2000, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Güzden Kutoğlu and I'm from Kültür 2000 College. Today I would like to talk about the interaction that made between student and teacher in face-to-face education. In the case of face-to-face classes, the closeness to the student, the personalized treatment, and the possibility of illustrating the classes with practical examples and the direct participation of the students are irreplaceable elements in the training process. Face-to-face learning ensures a better understanding and recollection of lesson content and gives class members a chance to bond with one another. Students get a chance to express themselves better. It's more important for young children. It's hard to be in a conversation for them because they don't know how to do it. The teachers are teaching to them. It can affect their social life and abilities. And also, the information on the first hand is important. It can affect the rest of the topic or data. Students might learn true or false, so it is way more better and easy to find or recover the mistake if there is any in the face-to-face education. As a conclusion, the communication between student and teacher is important. It needs a special attention when it comes to the implementation point, because the first moment that students learn the information is from the teacher, and it is essential to emphasize it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gülden. We have a question from our jury. Can we go to Steve, please?
Thank you, Gülden. Thank you, Gülden, for your comments. Arda in the blue team touched on this idea of a hybrid education, a blended education of both online and face-to-face. Do you see there's any future in a hybrid education rather than just a face-to-face classroom education? Thank you.
Can we go back to Gülden, please, for an answer to that?
Well, many people has died from trying to find reliable internet connection. Hybrid will be successful by using face-to-face key elements. So it is not only online, face-to-face education also has a major part. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we now go to Oz in Ataköy campus, please?
Problem with it. I'm sorry. I said there's a problem with the system. Okay, I found it. Thank you. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Özkan Ataç, and it's a pleasure for me to be a part of this event. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the necessity of applying an updated education model upon the lessons we took from a multiple series of crises that we had to face since the beginning of this year. The coronavirus pandemic have dramatically changed our lives in many aspects. Education is probably one of the most important of those. And I think the latest events showed us that it is nearly impossible to continue educating our students without computer orientation. So what are the benefits of the system that we suggest? Firstly, computer-oriented systems are much more time efficient compared to conventional education system. As a simple example, students and lecturers will not have to spend their valuable time on roads, and this alone occupies a lot of time. Secondly, it's customizable according to the needs of students, just like a bespoke suit. By that, I mean students can receive some specific documents that are shaped for themselves, sent by their teachers, much easier. Also, with recording technology, missed lessons will be there whenever they are needed. Lastly, computer-oriented education is also much more efficient by the means of natural sources, such as energy and the wood we use for producing paper. And I think we should also remind ourselves that during these unprecedented times, online education kept millions of students educated and also terminated the massive risk of much faster spreading pandemic. And then at the early days of these programs, there were many questions about this system's performance compared to conventional education's performance. But today, we're happy to say that this system has updated itself to a satisfying rate by the means of interaction. I think with these on table, we should all understand that the future of education is unthinkable without computer orientation. We should also take account of the risk that may occur in the future, such as another pandemic, which is repeatedly mentioned by many respectable science authorities. Thank you very much.
Can we take is there any quick questions from Culture 2000, because we don't have much time left? Yes, can we go to Mulatan, please, very quickly?
So you mentioned that it reduces the time that we spend on roads, so we can use that time efficiently for other stuff, but it also reduces the interactions that we need in our natural growth, in our daily lives. So how can online education possibly compensate for the lack of interactions occurs that because you stay at home all the time? Also, one more thing. Never mind. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mulatan. And we are going back to Oz to answer that, please.
I think I have answered your question in my speech, but to emphasize it once more, the thing you had stated might be a problem 6 months ago, but online education has improved itself constantly now to a point that is a quite satisfying rate of interaction. And also, it does not stop there. It also constantly improves itself for the upcoming days. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oz. And for the last person talking in this debate, can we go to 2000 to Zuhair, please? Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Zuhre Ceyhun from Kültür 2000 College. We believe that face-to-face education is important mostly because of communication. When we are in school, we need to see others' faces, see their face expressions while we're talking with them, body language, etc. You can learn more efficiently and your memory becomes better. Yes, in online education, some people have their cameras on, but some students don't give enough attention. We humans need human contact to see new faces. It's good for our health and mindset, especially kindergartners, first graders, etc. They need to learn how to read and write. They need someone to help them. They can't do it by themselves. They need someone to motivate them. They need to do physical activities like painting, singing, in order to become more social. They need their friends to talk and play with them. They should not be physically active. They should be physically active. They shouldn't be actively interacted with technology. A sociality is the issue comes along with addiction. When people get addicted to computers, they decide to stay with their computer all the time. So the time they spend with their friends and family decreases, which is a harm for human psychology and the future generations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zuhair. Now, because of the lack of time, I will have to end the debate now. Before we end the showcase, I would like to end it with a message from some of our students about why using debates in lessons is a good way to develop their skills. Thank you.
The use of debates in everyday classroom situation. Being able to debate is a very useful tool in society. Many careers and professions require to have this skill. Of course, any career in law, but also marketing, business, and even teaching. We had a debate with our colleagues, students, and principals on many topics. Being able to think on your feet is a very important skill, and one that, as educators, we need to develop in our students. Thank you.
How a simple debate can create 21st skills such as flexibility, critical thinking, creativity, and communication. Critical thinking and problem solving are some of the most useful skills in life. We use these skills in every job. A person who are able to analyze a problem and solve it quickly are an asset to any workplace. With this modern generation, everything is disposable and ready-made. We need them to be able to develop the way they think, look at the bigger picture, and express their ideas in an organized, respectful manner.
The need for teachers to develop fast thinking skills and the ability to advocate an opinion. Debating not only helps the students, but also the teaching staff. Teachers who have debates running in their classes also need to develop their skills of critical thinking and also to think on their feet. Teachers adopted the program well and have also commented on the fact that they have seen a change in the way, but they developed an argument and debating has expanded their skills. Thank you.
How students need the idea of fair competition and the competitive instinct is not just related to sports. Many schools have teams for sports, but not all students are sport-minded. Therefore, the students still need to understand the concept of fair play and competition, as well as developing a winning attitude. The world can be a difficult place, and at culture schools, we want to prepare our students so that they will always try and be the best, but always done in a fair and respectful way.
The need to allow students to express their opinion more in classroom situations and how these skills will be vital in their working life. Students need to know that their opinion matters and should never be afraid to express their opinion. Staying silent should not be an option. Students need to know that they can have a difference of an opinion with someone, but at the same time still respect what that person is saying. Learning not to take a debate to a personal level is a great skill to learn. Debates can be won or lost, but we want them to learn that respect should always be evident. Thank you.
I would like to thank everyone who has helped organize the showcase, our jurors, the technical and social media team, and last of all, and most importantly, our students. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye from Kültür Schools in Istanbul, Turkey.